Welcome to the Real News Network. I'm Sharmini Pires coming to you from Baltimore. Last week, Proactiva Open Arms, Doctors Without Borders, and the Italian Coast Guard rescued nearly 7,000 refugees off the coast of Libya. Most of them came from Somalia and Eritrea via war-torn Libya. According to some reports, over 3,000 people have already died in the Mediterranean this year. This represents a 50% increase in deaths relative to last year. In addition, UNICEF reports that out of every 200 children in the world, one is a refugee. Joining us now to discuss the refugee crisis in the Mediterranean is Gerard Canals. He's a coordinator with Proactiva Open Arms. Thank you so much for joining us, Gerard.
Hello, you're welcome.
So, Gerard, so far this year, over 100,000 refugees have safely crossed over to Italy, partly, of course, due to your organization's efforts out at sea. Tell us what encountered at sea last week during this operation where, flood of about 7,000 refugees tried to cross over to Italy.
Yes, well, that day we had a call at around 5 a.m. from the Italian MRCC. So they said they have a target very near to our position. So we start the search of this boat, and after a few minutes we found it. It was a very, very big boat, a wooden boat with over 750 people on it. It's the second largest boat we have ever experienced after one with over 1,000 people. Usually they are not so big, and when we find this kind of boats, it's very dangerous because they are very unstable. So when you start moving people, trying to transfer them to other boats, and it's very dangerous. And that was only the first case. And after that, we have another 4 wooden boats, smaller, and I think 18 to 20 rubber boats. And this was only in our area. I think that day the rescue happened in 2 different areas, and in ours it was over 4,000 migrant rescue.
And the people that you helped, obviously they were escorted to land. So where are they now, and who is taking care of them?
Well, when we transfer to bigger vessels that are able to make the transport, so they usually bring them to some point in Italy, and usually this point is in Sicily. In Sicily, they have the hot spots that is from Frontex. So when they disembark there, they check the nationalities, they check the identities, and from that moment, so depending on who is coming and where they are from, and they have to take one way or another. Then after that, we don't really know what is happening with them.
Right. Do you know of any cases where people are being returned back to Libya?
No, I have no any notice about this. I haven't heard about this. I know that when the Libyan Coast Guard, they pick the people in the water, they bring back to Libya. But once they have left the territorial waters and they are rescued, they all go to Italy.
Right. And it appears that after the Turkey-EU deal, the routes of passage has changed for refugees, causing more and more to come from Libya to Italy instead of going to Greece. What kind of stories did you hear from people about that?
Well, actually, the flow is not the same kind of people. So the flow in the Central Mediterranean is happening not only this year; it happened already last year and before that. So we already had different missions happening in this area. So from the deal, we were expecting the flow from Turkey to Greece to move somewhere else, like Albania, for example, crossing directly to Italy, but it didn't happen. We have news from 4 boats that they did it, that they crossed, but after that, nothing else. So the flow from the Centermed is more from African people. We have found some boats with Syrians, but the most common is African people there.
And this is clearly a serious problem. What do you believe are some of the solutions to what's going on?
Well, of course, the rescue activity is not a solution at all. It's just to fix something that is happening and have to be fixed. So we go there, try to save their lives, and from that moment, they bring to Europe, and then after that they have to take care of them, or I don't know, whatever happens. But the solution, of course, is in the country of origin. So when they leave their country, when they take the risk of crossing the desert and put themselves in these kind of boats and go to the sea, is because they are not able to have a life in their own countries. Otherwise, there is no way they put themselves in danger. So the solution, it comes from there. You have to try to find a way to make their life easier and better in their own country so they don't have to leave.
Yeah. There are certain legal implications to whether you call these refugees or migrants. Your organization has clearly decided to call them refugees, whether they're economic refugees or refugees fleeing war zones. Tell us about the significance of that difference and why your organization has decided to call them refugees.
Well, look, for me, personally, I prefer to call them people, So the difference that they make when you call them refugees is because they are fleeing from war, But the migrants, they are more for economical reasons. But in the end, it's the same thing. When you are leaving your country and you are putting your life in danger, it's because you really feel the need to do it. Otherwise, you don't want to put your life in danger like this. So yeah, we call them refugees, but personally, I prefer to call them people because it's what they are. And it happens before in our country, in Spain, that our own people have to leave. So now it's our turn to give something back,
And Gerard, has the situation calmed down at all, or the number of refugees coming? Are there still refugees coming across?
Do you mean in the Central Mediterranean or here in Greece?
I meant through over from Libya to Italy.
Yes, they are still crossing. The numbers, it depends of the day, it depends of the weather condition. They change a lot. Normally we have like 1,000 to 2,000 rescues in a day, but as you mentioned before, one day we have almost 7,000 cases in one day, and that is actually the record, if you want to call it like this. But a few weeks before that, we have the same record again, over 4,500. So in 1 year, we did twice the maximum number of rescues in this area in the whole history.
Right. All right, Gerard, I thank you so much for the very important work you're doing, and all the best to you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us on the Real News Network.